All right, I think we're going to get started. We'll just keep admitting people as they go along. So welcome everybody to the second of our meetings. Tonight, we have most of the CMT members here. We won't reintroduce ourselves, but we'll give everyone a chance to say hello again. And then we have a little bit of a presentation on our cultural day and some time to ask some questions. And then I have a couple of updates we need to talk about, and might be others on the CMT as well that need some updates. So on that note, I'll ask Dave Frederick if he has anything to say to everybody first.
So again, welcome to the adventure, folks. Glad that you've taken your time out this on a beautiful sunny evening here in Southern Ontario. We've got a bit of wind chill of -13 with a little bit of snow, which can't be as bad as what Saskatchewan is right now for the Grey Cup. So God bless you, those folks in Saskatchewan. And again, glad you're all visiting us this evening, and we will get you the information and some real good challenges that we're about to put on to you as well too. So welcome, and I will turn it over to Susie.
Thank you. I don't really have much else to add. We're coming down to the next, 8 months before this event. Very exciting as we continue on this adventure with everybody. You will be receiving quite a few, as you've heard, or as you'll hear throughout this meeting, quite a few deliverables. Please don't hesitate to ask questions. Send them into our email box. The more questions we get, the more we can also put up on our frequently asked questions and get out to everybody out there. And welcome tonight. I am here from Ottawa.
Remy, why don't you introduce yourself and say bonjour?
Bonjour et bienvenue à tous les gens de l'association. Je suis le chef de délégation pour l'association ici à Drummondville et je vous souhaite la bienvenue à cette réunion ce soir où on commence vraiment à donner de belles informations pour bien vous préparer pour le Jamboree et un beau défi à remplir qui va favoriser les discussions dans votre propre unité pour le Jamboree. Donc, c'est une belle opportunité et je serai toujours disponible pour répondre à vos questions. Vous pouvez m'envoyer un courriel ou on se rencontre. Il y a toujours possibilité là, de bien se préparer et ça sera un plaisir de vous accompagner en Corée à l'été prochain.
C'est bien, merci, mon ami. Laura Jarvis, I believe, is on the call.
Yeah, but I'm hiding. I didn't know I was speaking. Hi, everybody. Thank you all for keeping up on your payments. Next payment will be due on December 1st, which is a Thursday, so it will actually go through on the Thursday. I'll be sending out the reminder notice to all of you this week.
Thank you very much, Laura, for keeping us on the straight and narrow and taking care of the money issues for us. And I believe we would have I'm pretty sure Emily is on our call today as she will be having a discussion. So Emily.
Hi, everyone. I'm Emily. I'm based out of Vancouver, so representing the West Coast of our huge country here. I'm really glad that we're all going to this Jamboree, but my area is for programs, so two parts. Canada Pavilion, which is featuring our country next to other country pavilions, and then also Cultural Day, which I would be spending time to explain to everyone what that is, because this is going to be something that we all organize together.
Thank you very much, Emily. I don't know if Rob is on the line.
He is
Rob
not.
Ram? Okay. And the only Maria and Eric.
I don't know if I saw either of them here either.
Okay.
David P is here though, or he was.
Yeah, David's
Then
here.
Let's introduce David P, who's in charge of your transportation and your pre-camp.
Yeah, hi everyone. So David Pouliot, travel and pre-camp lead. Donc David Pouliot, responsable du transport et pré-camp. So I've been writing to quite a lot of you to get some of your travel information and just validate some things. So thank you everyone for responding quickly. We're working for to arrange the travel for everyone. So it's really appreciated when you can provide us the information we need when we need it. Donc, merci à tout le monde là, qui répondent à mes multiples courriels de vos demandes d'informations pour faciliter le transport de tout le contingent. Ça nous aide vraiment quand vous nous répondez rapidement alors qu'on essaie de planifier cette belle aventure-là pour tout le monde. Merci.
I think that's everyone, George, and we turn it back to you, my friend.
Excellent. We'll get right into it, and we'll ask Emily to start her presentation on Cultural Day.
Great. So we would be doing this. So myself, I'll be presenting the English portion and give the information, and then Remy will be helping with the French translation. So we make sure that we do it both English and French. Okay. So Cultural Day. So this is, as you can see, these are some pictures from previous jamborees. It is a time when each patrol and unit really features Canada to other countries. So all the other programs and tents at the Jamboree would be closed on that day. So August 6th, everyone will be at the subcamp, and you will be helping to be ambassadors for Canada. So we need your help to think about how would you decorate your campsite. Would you have some, games or activities or some cultural experiences that you would like to invite in over 150 different countries, scouts from 150 different countries to come experience? And so you can decide what is the best way to showcase Canada and our multiculturalism. So later on, we'll show a video to give you an idea of what previous Jamboree Cultural Day looked like. You could take some of those ideas, but we're also welcome new ideas that you have. The other thing to know is that on Cultural Day, at each subcamp, there's also a subcamp stage, and there are often faith or religious ceremonies that are being featured, and then also cultural performances as well. So what you will also need to do is figure out a schedule or roster for your patrols and your units, because you will probably need to have a rotation of who's going to be staying at the campsite to continue running your activities, and then time for people to, you to go around to visit some of the other subcamps and interact with the other scouts. Okay, over to Remy.
Alors, bonjour, moi je m'appelle pas Rémi, je m'appelle Marie-Claude et c'est moi qui va faire la partie traduction. Merci Émilie, c'est correct. Bon, c'est quoi une journée culturelle? Une journée culturelle, c'est pour faire connaître notre pays aux autres personnes qui participent au jam. Donc, c'est basé en sous-camp. On s'entend qu'on ne peut pas aller visiter les 50 000 personnes. Donc, par sous-camp, les patrouilles et les unités vont devoir accueillir les autres pays à leur table. Et vous allez être des ambassadeurs. Vous allez représenter le Canada, le scoutisme au Canada et la culture canadienne cette journée-là. Ce qui est important aussi, c'est de comprendre que cette journée-là, c'est aussi pour vous autres d'aller visiter les autres tables et aller en apprendre un peu plus sur les pays. Donc, très important, dans la façon que vous allez planifier votre journée, laissez du temps à vos jeunes et moins jeunes d'aller visiter. C'est vous qui allez décider comment vous allez mettre le Canada et le multiculturalisme en valeur à votre table. Donc, et ça sera supervisé par Émilie. Et il va y avoir également, dans chaque sous-camp, il y a un stage, mais c'est ça, là, comment on appelle ça en français. Et donc, il va y avoir des cérémonies religieuses et également des spectacles là, pour compléter cette journée-là. Merci, Émilie.
Merci, Marie-Claude. Okay. All right. So I think the best way to show this is actually maybe show a video of some of the snippets from previous Jamboree, so you can get an idea. And you actually would see one of the Canada patrols in this. In this case, they came up with having a hockey game, and they set up in their subcamp. But definitely take a look at other ideas. There's food, there's games that people play, there's cultural displays. Let's take a look.
So hi, Jumbo, I'm from Kenya. I'm from Bolivia. So we just met and we became friends. Oh, yeah!
I'm wearing hanbok. It's Korean traditional clothes. Korea!
is cha-cha. It's a musical instrument for our country. It's made by cloth of an animal and we make music.
Slovakia.
Hi, we are from Chile and right now cooking the humitas.
We're from Switzerland and we're cooking footschnitte.
Hi guys, we're from Portugal and we are offering sweet rice.
Welcome to Saudi Arabia. This is Arabic coffee.
We are from Nepal and we are going to perform a cultural dance.
This is the Taishan ukulele.
Welcome to Tunisia!
Hey, this is Sardine and this is harina. It's a spicy sauce. We are from Paraguay and this is a typical dress.
We're from Manchester, UK. Welcome to Brazil.
Welcome to Taiwan!
Welcome to Canada and come play some hockey. Welcome to South Africa. Welcome to the US.
Welcome to Ukraine!
I'm from Bangladesh, I wear shari. And I'm wearing salwar kameez.
Welcome to Spain!
Welcome to Sri Lanka. Hi, boy.
A scout in a neckerchief can change the world.
Okay, what an exciting video. I think that really gives a really good taste of what Cultural Day is. Nicole, do you want to add anything in terms of
Imagine what would
explanation?
happen if every person.
En fait, je pense que les images parlent plus que les mots. Donc, on a tout hâte d'y aller, je pense. Puis c'est dans un esprit de partage puis de solidarité.
Okay, so we'll talk about timelines because it does take organization from everyone to make this happen. Today is November. We want to kick off and introduce the concept for Cultural Day with everyone. And then from December to January, what we need each patrol and unit to do is you need to organize your own meetings and help plan. And by January 15, what we'd like from each patrol and unit is for the overall unit. So there's 4 patrols in 1 unit. You will have filled out the plan for your Cultural Day. So there could be multiple ideas. It doesn't not have to be all the same for all the Canadian units. It's what you would like to feature at the Jamboree. But in the plan, we would like if you would have any food, what the food ingredients are, and then also an equipment list. Because the food will be procured on site. So we'd have to order the food for you in advance and then have it at the Jamboree site. And then for the equipment, because we are all getting on a plane to go to the Jamboree, there's going to be some limitations for equipment. So once you plan it out, we can review and then we can either be resourceful or figure out how to procure it, or you might need to divide up the task of bringing the equipment between patrol members. In the January meeting, so this same as this monthly meeting, we'd like each unit to present for 3 minutes what your plan for the Cultural Day is. And then so everyone in the Canadian contingent can see what the other units are doing. And by February, we would be ordering any food quantities that you have. We'll also prepare for you some small free giveaways that's in progress. So it likely would be something like a Canadian, maybe maple leaf tattoo, or maybe it's a wristband, or maybe it's a pin. But you will have something that you would be able to give to visitors to your campsite. And then May, we'd like everyone to use part of this monthly meeting time as well to discuss any final arrangement. And patrol units, you may need to organize additional meetings on your own to practice, what is your duty roster, logistics. Maybe you need to practice your song or game or activity. And then August, 1 to 2 days before, we would be packaging up your food, ingredients, any giveaways. And then on the day of or the day before, we will need patrols to come pick up your items. So maybe food or giveaways. And then August 6th, you will also need to have a plan on getting set up for your activities. Because we also like to make sure that everyone in the patrols have a chance to also walk around and experience Culture Day of the Undercountries. Okay, Marie-Claude, you can help with the French.
Bien sûr, donc j'ai pris des petites notes. Donc, décembre, janvier, tout ce qui s'appelle les leaders de patrouille et d'unité, ça va être d'organiser un meeting pour planifier cette belle journée-là. Qu'est-ce que vous avez le goût de présenter de votre coin de pays? Donc, on demanderait ça pour le 15 janvier. Il faudrait que le 15 janvier, il y ait un plan initial de fête. Donc, toutes les idées que vous avez pour cette journée-là. Donc, et surtout, si vous pensez faire goûter des choses, s'il y a de la nourriture d'impliquer et de l'équipement, très important de nous fournir la liste le 15 janvier. On a beaucoup de vérifications à faire, des restrictions au niveau de l'avion. Donc, très important d'avoir ça pour le 15 janvier. Donc, à la rencontre de janvier également, on va vous demander une petite présentation de 3 minutes par unité. Donc, ça va être le leader d'unité qui va s'assurer qu'on a un peu un aperçu de ce qui va être fait. On est curieux, on aime ça. Et nous aussi, de notre côté, ce qu'on va faire, c'est qu'on va s'assurer d'avoir des gratuités. Donc, lors de cette journée-là, que vous allez pouvoir donner aux participants là, qui vont venir vous voir des autres pays, donc des tatous, des pins, bon, des choses comme ça. Donc, très important que ça soit fait pour le mois de janvier, pour que nous, on ait le temps de faire les vérifications, commander et tout ça. Au mois de mai, ça va être les préparations finales. Donc, pratique, comment va être installé le stand, la logistique alentour de ça, qui s'occupe de quoi, et surtout, de s'assurer que chaque jeune et adulte ait aussi le temps dans la journée de se promener pour aller voir les choses. Donc, d'organiser la cédule de travail pour que tous les participants puissent avoir une belle journée également dans l'échange. Et au mois d'août, bien, sur le 4, une journée avant, on va vous distribuer les items que vous allez avoir demandés pour faire de cette journée une réussite. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you. Okay. What to expect. So there could be up to 8,000 scouts dropping into your campsite. It doesn't mean that, all of them will, interact with the activity, but you should expect there will be lots of people walking around, and it would be your job to be good ambassadors, and you're trying to engage. You can see from the video that, people are very engaging. They want to show, what their country is about for people walking by. We will have 7 units of 4 patrols across the subcamps. So not all the Canadian units will be camping together. It's very likely we'll be spread out in the subcamp, which is great. So that means we would have at least, a unit, at each subcamp to feature Canada. And, we could all have different activities because people will be walking around and mingling between the subcamps as well. So be welcoming. It's important that, we highlight our culture or what you would like to feature about Canada, but also consider other languages and culture. So predominantly in Canada, we are English and French, but there would be many other scouts that would have different languages and different cultures. So you might want to think about, do you want to do translations or maybe some, signs so you can explain to them, what you're doing in multiple languages. And also, plan, how could you, facilitate explaining things, when, you need to, and this is across the Jamboree as well. And it's also part of the experience. And, we all communicate through the language of Scouting, but, definitely be considerate of other languages. Plan your setup and cleanup time. So depending on, how much setup you need for your activity, if it's food, if it's a game, if it's a sport, you probably may need to maybe even plan a few days before to start getting that set up. And also for cleanup as well. So make sure that, you don't, leave your subcamp in a tip-top shape after cultural day as well. And then also schedule for your patrols to rotate to visit other patrols. Okay, Marie-Claude.
Alors, comme qui est écrit, il faut penser peut-être qu'on va recevoir 8000 visiteurs, pas de pression, tout le monde, ça va bien aller. Donc, 7 unités de 4 patrouilles dans les sous-camps, donc il va y avoir du monde, ça ne sera pas juste des Canadiens, bien sûr, qui vont se promener. Il y a peut-être des gens de d'autres sous-camps qui vont venir vous visiter. Donc, assurez-vous d'être interactif, de ne pas avoir peur de leur parler. Puis, il va falloir coacher vos jeunes à le faire aussi, parce que ce n'est pas toujours facile de le faire, d'être accueillant, de dire bonjour, d'avoir un sourire. Et puis, dans le fond, être capable d'échanger des objets et de la culture à travers les paroles, à travers les gestes, mais aussi à travers des objets, si ça vous tente. Il faut faire attention également qu'il y en a, ceux qui sont francophones dans la gang, bien, vous allez pouvoir peut-être entertainer les autres en français. Donc, juste considérer qu'il va y avoir d'autres langues. Donc, dans la présentation, soyez clairs et concis. Planifier la configuration, donc comment ça va être installé, et également le nettoyage après, parce qu'on laisse toujours la place encore mieux que quand on l'a trouvé. Et planifier la rotation de vos patrouilles, là, comme j'expliquais tantôt, pour qu'ils puissent eux autres aussi aller voir ce que les autres ont à offrir. Merci, Émilie.
Okay, so this is the template that we will share, and it will be led by patrol unit leaders. However, we'd like each of the participants, all the youth here, you have great ideas of how you would like to share our Canadian culture. So in the next 2 months, what we'd like you to do is take the initiative, now that you know about Cultural Day, to brainstorm together as a patrol and as a unit, how you would like to execute. And because a unit has over 40 people, you might even have multiple things that you might want to do like within your units. So that's up to you. What would be your interactive activity? And make sure you have listed the whole instructions so that everyone in the unit knows, even though you might be splitting up the work of who does what activity. Menu. So consider also any regional foods as well. So if there's a food that, it's unique to your region, or, something you think, oh, this is unique to Canada, or, Canada's multiculturalism, definitely want to feature that, but also consider allergens and food restrictions. And safety and cleanliness. So we would be at a campsite, we will be serving other people. So how will you be making your items so that, it's, servable? Not everyone will take the food, but maybe you want to have a explanation of why this food is, unique to Canada, or why you wanted it to feature it for Canada. Other ideas include campsite decoration and display. So like a gateway or archway, flags, maybe flags from your city or province, aside from the Canadian flag, and then also any cultural display or signage. So there might be things about Canada that you want to bring, right, as part of your equipment to bring there. Per unit, you will have $200. So this would be money that we would be helping you buy this. So we would need a list of this for like any food and equipment. Anything beyond that, so let's say personally you want to bring something from your city, that would be on you. Anything that is kind of part of the $200 budget, like that would be like food that we would have to get there for you, or like equipment that we would have to get there for you. What you will have is as part of your subcamp, it will be the stoves that you would be cooking on. throughout the camp. So there will be at least 1 or 2 stoves per patrol, so you can use that as equipment. But if you have any special supplies that you would need, like for example, if you need a big pot, or like you need like a special cooking equipment, that you would need to list it out and then figure out how you're going to bring it to the jamboree. Of course, if you ask for donations or sponsorship, that's welcome. If you have any ideas for where you could ask for support or donations. And then we talked about having a duty roster. And then also a part of the plan is how do we be prepared? So, potentially what might be the risk, what can go wrong, what's the safety plan, and have a plan for that. So this plan would be due January 15th. And your unit, nominate a few people from your unit to represent and present at the January meeting. Okay, Marie-Claude.
Merci. Donc, un petit peu un modèle de plan, ou du moins, qu'est-ce qu'on a besoin de savoir? On vous donne également des idées, qu'est-ce qui pourrait être fait. Vous pouvez très bien arriver avec vos idées, avec ce que vous avez goût de proposer. Ça peut être un beau mélange de tout ça. Donc, chansons, danse, musique, jeux, sport, cérémonies traditionnelles ou culturelles. Également, on parlait de nourriture tantôt, très important de considérer la sécurité et propreté. Et ça, Maria peut vous aider là-dedans. Recettes et ingrédients, on fait attention à tout ce qui a trait aux allergies. Donc, allez-vous avoir des décorations? Comment vous allez vous afficher? Le Jamboree, on a jusqu'à 200 $ par unité pour vous aider pour nourriture et équipement de quoi pour cet événement-là. Par contre, ça va nous prendre une liste, ça va nous prendre un peu le pourquoi vous voulez ça, pourquoi c'est important, dans quelles circonstances vous voulez l'utiliser. Donc, c'est sûr que sur le camp, vous avez votre matériel de base, mais si vous avez besoin d'articles supplémentaires, ils doivent faire partie de la liste ou il peut être apporté dans vos bagages. C'est sûr que s'il y a des gens qui décident de vous donner des choses, c'est toujours le bienvenu. Donc, ce qu'on a besoin pour le 15 janvier, c'est la liste de ce que vous voulez faire, des choses que vous voulez faire, pourquoi vous voulez présenter ça, comment ça va être fait, donc qui fait quoi, comment ça va être fait, comment ça va être installé et surtout comment ça va être nettoyé après, qui fait quoi. Et c'est sûr qu'il faut toujours être prêt parce qu'il y a des risques dans tout ce qu'on peut faire. Donc, plus on est planifié, moins il y a des risques que ça arrive. N'oubliez pas de nommer peut-être 2 ou 3 jeunes ou personnes de votre unité qui vont venir nous présenter cette fabuleuse journée. Une petite présentation de 3 minutes, rien de bien long. Merci.
Thank you. Okay. So that's the information that we have. So what we'll be sharing after the patrol unit leaders who will get set up in meetings with you is this template. And then if you have any questions, what we do have for support is the rest of the program team. We will assign 1 or 2 people per program team to support you for any questions, especially on questions on equipment, what to prepare. So we will share that as well. And then, so looking forward to see everyone's plans in January.
Donc, n'oubliez pas, si vous avez des questions, des idées, il n'y a pas d'idées trop folles. Vous pouvez juste valider certaines informations. N'hésitez pas à envoyer un courriel aux membres du programme. Ils vont être capables un peu de vous encadrer là-dedans là, pour vous assurer que vous ayez la meilleure journée possible. Merci, Émilie.
I have perhaps a clarification. In your presentation, you said it's $200 per unit. That's per Jamboree unit, correct?
Yep, per Jamboree unit.
Make sure everyone is aware of that.
Donc, le 200, c'est vraiment par unité et non pas par patrouille.
And guys, work on your ideas. Like, once we know what the ideas are, then working with you and working with our procurement team, we do have access to a whole ton of hockey sticks. The question is, if we're going to use them, great. We would like to bring them. If they're going to be used, plastic hockey sticks, great. Let us know what you guys need, okay? And we will work together with the teams, okay? And Bob, you're absolutely right. Keep in mind that our temperatures at this Jamboree are going to be on the warm side. And so the expectation is that during the day, the temperature is going to be 30+ degrees. So, you know, I would love you guys to have Tim Hortons iced tea or iced coffee, but I just don't see how that's going to work unless you guys can prove me wrong. So, yeah.
Yep, great questions. Let's see, scrolling through the ideas here, lots of great ideas. I think we answered all the questions.
Thanks. So,
Jeff and Luke, if you're bringing a whole Tim Hortons, I'm impressed. We will work with you if you're bringing a whole Tim Hortons.
Okay, there's people with raised hands. Evan?
Hello. I have a question about the travel. What are we gonna do? Are we gonna go from to the air? Who's putting us on the airplane?
Great question,
David.
Evan. Let's just, before we get into more of the questions, was there any more questions on the culture day or food? And then we can get into, I think, George, correct me if I'm wrong, this was the key presentation for tonight, and then we're going to get into questions. Is that correct?
correct. There's not a lot of presentations tonight, so yes, this is the key one, and then we can get into the questions.
Okay.
I saw though Rob had a question about what are the options for keeping the food for Cultural Day cool and or frozen. It will have to be kept at your campsite, so there are very little, I believe. I don't know what at this point is going to be done for keeping foods cool at sites. Does anybody, Dave or Susie or
Yeah,
you guys know?
there are coolers being provided to each of the units for with what I suspect will be cold packs. But I would suspect that those would have to be used within the 3 to 4 hours. We will work with you if there's other items that we need to work with. So.
Susan F has her hand up as well.
Go ahead.
Hi, I was just wondering with regards to the decorations for Cultural Day, is there going to be any kind of government involvement to be able to get flags or Canadian flag pins, city pins, that sort of thing that governments generally, or the members of parliament or whoever generally hand out?
Susan, great question. I would strongly recommend your unit start asking your MPs, your MPPs for some of that stuff. I know everybody on our CMT is going to be asking for that material as well too. So if the youth and the units want to start asking their people as well too, to get as much free material from the federal, provincial, and municipal governments.
Okay, thank you.
Donc, on vous encourage fortement à demander à vos représentants au niveau national, provincial et même municipal s'ils peuvent vous fournir là, pins, drapeaux et tout le tralala.
For Jeff, I know last time at the last Jamboree, somebody on the actually CMT, he went and wrote to all of the provincial governments, and I think he got stuff from almost everywhere. So it certainly would be cool if we can get all of them.
Okay, if that's most of the questions on the presentation. Excellent job, Emily. Thank you very much. And again, if you need more information, please contact Emily and the program team or any one of the CMT members.
There was Susan with her hand raised. I don't know if it's an old one.
So I think we would go back to the question that was being asked in regards to transportation. And if that person could reiterate the question, it was something about getting people from point A to, I would suspect, one of the hubs. What was the question on transportation?
It was, I think it was Evan. He had the question.
Yes.
Evan?
So I have a leader who is out of province. I'm concerned about how I'm going to get from the airport onto the plane and then where I'm going to meet him when I'm in South Korea, or what happens if a layover, there's stuff.
We have a dedicated person to manage all of those issues, and Mr. David Pouliot, your turn, my friend.
Yeah, thanks you, Dave. Yeah, so just to tell everyone that we are currently working with our travel agency and the airline to try to secure all of the seats for everyone on the contingent to get there. The plan is, you've seen when you completed your travel questionnaire that there was a question about your preferred airport. So there was a kind of a choice about which airport was closer to you and which one you wanted to use to get to South Korea. So the way we'll work is that there was a lot of regional airports, and we'll try to concentrate people into 2 hubs, so Toronto and Vancouver, to get the flights to South Korea. So those of you who are in either Toronto or Vancouver, well, you're lucky, you'll have only 1 flight. Those that are in other airports, then you'll have a domestic flight to get to one of these airports to then board the big flight to South Korea. So we are aware that there are many patrols and units that have people that will be departing from different airports. You will all be meeting up at one of these hubs. So everyone that is leaving from Eastern Canada, so Toronto and all the way to the Atlantic, will meet in Toronto and be on the same flight to South Korea. And everyone on the West Coast will meet in Vancouver and then be on the same flight to Seoul. And all of the contingent will be assembled once we arrive in Seoul on these 2 flights. So the question is where you're leaving from. So you'll either meet your other patrol leaders in Toronto or Vancouver or in Seoul. But it will all be planned, and we'll have more information once we get the final details as to which flights the contingent will use.
So just to let everybody know, and so that there's an understanding, for West Virginia, okay, most of the flights were not confirmed until 4 to 6 weeks away from the Jamboree. So if you're thinking you're getting confirmation anytime in the next little while of when your flights are going, please hold on. Understand the expectation is that we will have those flights. Confirmation will probably be 6 to 8 weeks prior to the Jamboree.
Donc, si vous me permettez, je vais quand même donner cette information-là. La confirmation des vols, nous, on travaille fort à sécuriser tout ça pour que tout le monde soit en même temps. On travaille fort là-dessus. C'est pour ça qu'on a besoin des informations de tout le monde. Mais on ne pourra pas avoir des confirmations et tout ça, pas avant 4 à 6 semaines avant de quitter pour la Corée. C'est pas nous, c'est vraiment les transporteurs. Merci.
Do we know which airline is being used?
I would respond to that saying that we're negotiating with airlines at this time. So once we have more information, we'll make sure to share it with all of you through one of the newsletters. I think there's one that will come out soon. There will be more information about the travel dates and everything so that you can start planning and ask for your leave requests if you need to, those that are working. But then the final information, it will be released a bit later, as Dave said, as we get the confirmations closer to the departure date. Donc, pour l'instant, yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Chung Young asked what happens if we need to fly ahead of the pre-camp dates, and that's one of the questions you've been asking at this point.
Yeah, sorry. So can you repeat? Sorry, I missed that one.
Yeah, the question is, what happens if we need to fly ahead of the pre-camp dates?
We're in contact with everyone that mentioned in the travel questionnaire that they wanted to fly in early. That is not really an option that we provided to everyone because that's not easy on our part with the travel with the airlines. But we're aware of certain, I would say, custom requests that were made in the travel questionnaire, and we'll be reaching out to you if we haven't already. You will receive a communication from someone on the travel team soon, just so that we can work out these details and see what we can do in your situation. But just to kind of get on that, the option that was provided in the travel questionnaire was to extend your trip in South Korea after the Jamboree. So many of you kind of opted in that option because you wanted to kind of visit South Korea after. We've reached out to all of you at this point, so you should have an email from us asking for a confirmation. So that was kind of the standard option, is to visit the country after. And if you have any questions about the travel request, or if you have any special requests, please just send us an email and then we can work with you. We don't want to discuss the specific situations now. Donc, juste rapidement en français, juste pour dire que l'option qui était donnée dans les questionnaires de voyage, c'était si vous vouliez prolonger votre séjour en Corée pour visiter le pays après le Jamboree. Il y en a plusieurs qui ont décidé de se prévaloir de cette option-là et par aujourd'hui, vous devriez tous avoir reçu un courriel pour confirmer ces informations-là. Donc, s'il vous plaît, répondez à ce courriel-là. Si vous avez des demandes spéciales de voyage sur des dates différentes pour différentes raisons, puis qu'on ne vous a toujours pas contacté, n'hésitez pas à nous envoyer un courriel au contingent, puis on va pouvoir régler ça avec vous.
One question, then I'll go to Carlos. Will the IST be using the same hubs?
Yeah, so the ISTs and the participants, you will follow the same itinerary. However, you are not traveling on the same dates as participants because participants and leaders, they are attending the pre-camp and ISTs are not. And ISTs need to be on site on the Jamboree site before participants and they need to leave after. So yes, you will be using the same routes, but not at the same dates.
Can parents contribute air miles or Air Canada travel credits towards airfares?
Not really, because this is a group fare and we're working for all of the contingents, so we cannot start taking into consideration every single credit that you may have. You've provided, most of you, your kind of loyalty information in the travel questionnaire. This will be passed on to our travel agency and the airlines. And if possible, we'll try to kind of put it there so that maybe you can get some of the points or credits, but we cannot guarantee anything because this is a group travel and not an individual travel. So the rules are a bit different.
Carlos, you had your hand up?
Yeah, he answered my question. It was about
Okay.
the ISTs leaving earlier than everybody else.
Okay, thanks, Carlos.
It's answered. Thank you.
Telly, it's an interesting question. I'm not too sure exactly what you're asking. Will that only A to B flights arranged and B to A?
I think I kind of understand it. So if your question is everyone leaving from the same airport will be on the same flights to get to South Korea and come back? Yes, that's our objective. That's what we're trying to do. We're kind of limited as to the capacity that the airlines can offer at this time. So we'll see once we get closer to the departure date what we can do, and you'll get the confirmation. But yes, our goal is, for example, everyone leaving from Ottawa as the participants and leaders, our goal is to have all of these travel together and come back together on the same flights. We don't want you to be spread out. But there are some restrictions sometimes, and we're trying to work with the airlines to facilitate that.
Yeah. Please understand that for most of the flights leaving from Toronto and or Vancouver, it's usually one flight to Seoul. These flights are usually the larger airplanes of anywhere from 350 to 400 seats on these flights. So that's why we want to be in advance so that we're ordering the amount of tickets that we need to get the 200 and some people for the pre-camp. They're on time for the pre-camp, and then the 100 folks for the ISTs to be on site for their point of being on being picked up from the Jamboree organizing committee. Alrighty, so I will continue to ask questions, and you guys can answer. Question: will the contingent kit include a travel bag for the airplane in lieu of a suitcase?
It includes a day pack. We can answer that one. Gobinda also has her hand up, so or he. But the contingent kit includes a day pack.
It's our understanding right now that you will be allowed 2 checked bags. One of those probably should be your backpack. Understanding that if you're bringing a suitcase with wheels, that's probably not your best use. As once you get to the Jamboree site, the soil is reclaimed ocean sand. And if you're trying to run those on cartwheels, you're going to find that gums up pretty quickly. So you're allowed 2 checked baggage. You're allowed a personal bag, such as a laptop bag or a purse, and you're allowed a day pack on your flight as well too.
Est-ce que je
So
peux...
Rob, I sort of agree with you. No suitcases, no garbage bags.
So further to David's point, because he did say you're allowed 2 check bags. Whatever you bring on the plane, you have to carry to your site. So remember that there is potentially a 3 to 5K hike from where we get dropped off to your site. So if you're going to bring 2 really big bags, you have to figure out how you're getting them there.
David, do you give me a few minutes so I can translate this one? Because I think it's a very important one. Thank you. Donc, on demandait si dans le kit, on était pour prévoir le gros backpack là, pour mettre notre stock dedans. Non. Ce qu'on offre, c'est un day pack, donc un sac que tu vas pouvoir traîner toute la journée avec toi. Donc, dans l'avion, tu as le droit à 2 sacs enregistrés en soute et tu as également le droit à 2 qu'on appelle carry-on, donc des peut-être ta sacoche, un sac à dos, 2 sacs à dos là, dans l'avion. Sauf que, comme Georges l'a mentionné, tout ce que tu apportes, tu le traînes. Donc, ça veut dire que plus tu en apportes et plus c'est pesant, ben, il faut que tu le marches peut-être un 3 km pour te rendre à ta tente. Donc, pensez-y. Merci.
So Gobinda has had their hand up for a while now. So you want to ask your question.
Hello. So I handed in the travel questionnaire a while ago, but never received confirmation. So
we are still going through. We received 350 submissions, so it takes a bit of time to just go through all of them, and we kind of prioritize depending on the situations. If you haven't heard anything from us, it's either that we aren't at your submission yet, or that everything was correct and we didn't need any more information from you. So it's not a worry in any case.
Great, thanks.
Somewhere back there, oh, sorry, Chris Baxter asked, is there anything from a personal kit perspective that youth may want to purchase prior to the trip? Parents are asking for Christmas gifts, things we not usually use for camps in Canada. So I'll mention one of the things, only because it came up in our meeting a little while ago, is perhaps a small cot, like a low to the ground, lightweight cot. As David just said, the ground is reclaimed ocean, beach sand, more or less. And that was, we're provided a small mat to sleep on, but I don't, from what we've heard, it might not be the best mat in the world or the most comfortable. So that's one thing that I can think of personally. I don't know if anyone else said, Susie's got another idea there too. Something to wash your clothes in. I don't know if anyone wants to.
Solar charger is an excellent one as well too.
Yep.
As we get closer and closer, there are some things, but there are some things that I doubt I suggest that some type of lotion or to provide for your feet, and where there's potential of areas that are going to get rubbed. High humidity, high heat can cause chafing of the skin in certain areas. So we're going to be having those discussions as we talk to Maria and Eric and our health and safety people. Diaper cream, exactly as you're mentioning there. So would the cot go in your suitcase? I would recommend, Jack, that the cot probably go in your backpack. Again, I would strongly recommend that the unit leaders, patrol leaders, have a discussion that, again, suitcases probably are not the items you want to be taking.
Si vous avez également des questions là, pour ceux qui sont en français, si vous avez des questions un peu ou quoi apporter si c'est votre première fois loin comme ça dans cette grosse chaleur-là, n'hésitez pas à nous envoyer un courriel à Rémi ou même à David qui est allé au Japon et qui a souffert le martyre là-bas aussi. Donc, peut-être si vous avez des questions ou si vous voulez qu'on vous donne une petite liste, ça va nous faire plaisir de vous donner ça. Thank you.
Somewhere up there, Adam suggested a battery for to charge off of. It's probably a good idea as well, along with your solar panel.
And if I can just quickly add something before we move on to the next question, just in terms of the luggage and everything, we've shared with you that this will be that there will be 2 bags per person. Just know that we'll share kind of the final allowance with you once we get the confirmation that will come with the flight confirmation. But it is strongly believed that we'll have the 2 checked bags, 1 carry-on and 1 personal item. But that will be confirmed in one of the newsletter closer to the departure date with all of the sizes and everything.
Nadim, you've been waiting very patiently.
Be camping for about 6-7 days. What are some of the hygiene precautions we will be taking?
So we'll be camping for about 10 days on site. There's for those of you on the pre-camp, your accommodations will be in university, as well as you'll have access to showers, as well as we believe washing machines and dryers. Once you're on site, hygiene will consist of, there will be showers, there will be flush toilets. Your choice of how many times youth want to use the shower. You're strongly recommending that you get into your habits on a daily basis. Work with your teams and you know, whether that's a shower a day or a shower in the morning before you guys are doing things, or a shower at night when you're finished. Those are up to you. The personal hygiene, it is a small city, very similar to the previous jamborees. Those are set and ready for the participants. So there will be showers, there'll be flush toilets, urinals available. So.
Donc, pour répondre, pour traduire la question, désolé. Pour traduire la question, on se demandait par rapport à l'hygiène personnelle. C'est sûr que pendant le pré-camp, vous allez avoir accès à des douches, peut-être même laveuses sécheuses. Mais rendu sur le camp, ben, c'est un camp. Donc, des douches, bon, l'hygiène personnelle de base. Donc, ça va être au leader de patrouille et d'unité de s'assurer que les jeunes prennent 1 à 2 douches par jour, même parce qu'il va vraiment faire chaud. S'assurer de se laver les mains, puis de faire en sorte qu'on est confortable également. Donc, le dry bag pour laver le linge et tout ça, c'est une très, très bonne idée.
Question now, when do you get your tent?
When you get there.
Tent when you get there. The tents will be part of the units. We are being told that there will be a possibility for ISTs to bring their own tents. We're getting more information on that, and we'll have more discussions as that firms up as well too right now. But right now, the tents that are being provided for the participants will hold 2 people per tent.
We don't know what kind they are either. That's still probably up for debate what they're going to be using.
Do we take them back? No, the tents for this jamboree will be left on site for the Korean Scout Association.
Yeah, so Robin asked, one of the benefits of a cot would be if there was suddenly a whole lot of groundwater, and might that be an issue? I believe it could be an issue. We don't really know for sure, I guess.
It's probably our recommendation that cots should be something that the participants look into. The low ones, again, you won't want the ones 1.5 or 2 feet off the ground, but one of the lower ones might be beneficial.
And I posted in the chat, but take a look on Facebook Marketplace. I found a really good used one there for a fraction of the cost that I would have paid for on Amazon.
En passant pour les francophones, a cot, c'est un lit de camp, donc qui est surélevé. I just gave the meaning of cot.
Okay.
Just to be sure they understood the conversation that we were having.
There's been a couple of links posted in the chat about what they're just going through back. Chat was going for pretty quick there. Emily had a bunch of really good suggestions as well for things to look and bring. Someone sent me the pack lists actually from the UK and the US. I will figure out a way to get them posted somewhere because they were very full of good information.
George, just send it to me and I can add it to a newsletter.
Yep, I will. So Chris asked, current generation inflatable pads offers the same clearance. I think the reason though, so if you're on an inflatable pad, it's still right against the ground, and if there is a sudden influx of water, the bottom of your mat's going to get wet, and that's fine if you want, like to use it that way. But I like the idea of being off the ground just a little bit in case there is a bit more water than one would hope.
Donc, la différence entre un matelas gonflable et le lit de camp, c'est parce que le lit de camp est vraiment séparé du sol s'il y a une arrivée d'eau soudaine. Mais ça, c'est vraiment votre choix, là. Il n'y a pas de problème. On peut également poser la question si ça peut vraiment se produire. Et j'aime beaucoup le commentaire de Lindy. I really like the comment from Lindy. Just remember that you're limited to 50 pounds and you need to be able to carry that. Donc, je dois être d'accord avec ça. Faites attention de ne pas dépasser le poids.
Any more questions? Anyone from on our team? Where are we meeting up in the airport? So when you get to the airport, so Dave, I'm sure we will have some designated spots. David, can you answer that?
Yeah, so we're working on the travel plan. Just understand that we're currently working with the tickets first, and then after that we'll try to handle kind of the logistics that will be done next summer. But you will be able to meet up with the people that are also leaving from that airport, and then at the hub you'll meet the rest of the contingent at the gate for the flight to Seoul. So you'll all be meeting there. But we are working on the logistics of people, just that we will handle that after the tickets.
So someone asked, sorry, as you mentioned, the temperature is going to be over 30 degrees. What's the plan to have the contingent free of heat stroke? Are there trees around? There is a covered walkway. What other things are there for? Well, drink lots of water is really the big one there. Make sure you drink lots of water. And when you think you've had enough water, drink some more anyways. There's never going to be too much water. Wear a hat. Lindy says bring Gatorade.
We know there's one tree on the site. Now the site is 18 square kilometers with one tree.
Oh, cool.
So I'm pretty sure we're not getting the 50,000 people around the one tree.
Not a big one?
The contingent tents, the program tents, there will be having, we are planning to have fans in our tents. They will be recommending lots and lots of water to drink, as George mentioned. We are talking with our own health and safety people, our own doctors. The biggest concern at the World Jamboree in Japan was the amount of heat stroke or heat dehydration that was affecting an awful lot of the contingents. You have to remember that the whole population of South Korea manages this on a day-to-day basis, every day, and they're used to it. We will get used to it as well. But the priorities are drink water, keep your hats on, sunscreen. If it's too hot, don't limit your physical exertion. So it's the common sense discussions that your unit leaders, you as participants, will have to abide by. I mean, you as participants are 14 to 18 years of age. You're way past being a cub. And so when your leaders are saying, drink your water, they shouldn't be asking you all the time to do that. You should be remembering to do that as you are now in a South Asian zone. And this is serious. And one of the requirements is to make sure that you are drinking enough water. There's enough water, potable water on site, and enough to provide that as one of the key benefits. We are working with our doctors to ensure that if we do have youth who do succumb to heat exhaustion, heat stroke, that we will manage that within the medical facilities, and we have opportunities to ensure that our youth are taken care of if they have to be taken off site as well.
I was going to
I
say,
hope that answers your question, Gisela.
I didn't want to put him on the spot, but one of our doctors actually that's coming with us is on this call tonight.
Yes, he is.
Dr. Doug here.
So Dr. Doug, how do you stop heat stroke?
The biggest thing is exactly the things that you've mentioned. Actually, the Canadian contingent in Japan, Yamaguchi, did better than most contingents because the leaders were very insistent that everybody carried water with them. Everybody had the appropriate sunscreen and hats, etc. on. It was a huge problem. The heat in Japan was a huge problem for many contingents. And we actually ended up, I was connected with the medical facilities in Japan. We actually ended up creating special tents where we had fans going with water, much like Disney does in some of their lineups. And that worked very well. But I think the main message to get to people is water. I think the expression is slip, slap, and slop. Make sure you've got your sunscreen, make sure you've got your hat on, and particularly in the middle of the day when it tends to be the hottest, get yourself out of the direct sun. So good advice from everybody there.
Perfect.
Question. Also, you might want to have space for items you traded in souvenirs. That's Emily talking about the suitcases, so don't overpack. There's a French question here, which is as follows.
I think Dave answered.
Yeah, if that's the flights one, okay. I kind of answered, and I answered it in English after also.
Fantastic. Yeah, there's 2 people per tent, so that's been answered.
Will there be swimming?
We believe there's water activities. We haven't been confirmed that yet, but on the original video and the original submission from the South Korean Scout organization, they did call for water activities. We need confirmation on that, but the site is adjoining the South, basically the South China Sea.
Donc, pour la baignade, on attend de voir, on attend d'avoir des nouvelles, mais selon les vidéos, il y avait l'air d'en présenter des activités avec de l'eau, en tout cas avec la baignade. À suivre. Thank you.
Here's always a good question. How much spending money should the youth bring? I would say it depends on how much money the youth is going to spend. Most of the items, most of the participants day to day, from the time they come off of Korea into Seoul to the time they go back from the pre-camp to the jamboree, most of their essentials are paid for. There is no added any cost, no added things. It's dependent now on what the youth wants to buy. So there will be souvenirs. There will be a trading shop, multiple trading shops for badges, all types of memorabilia from the jamboree. There will be opportunities when they're in Seoul to visit fast food restaurants, should they want to. There will be opportunities for them to visit stores and buy souvenirs in Seoul, as well as through the pre-camp. So if you want to budget $50 a day and it's $500 Canadian for the 10 to 14 days, maybe that's a budget. If that's too much, then maybe it's $300, and the youth has to manage their money and their budget. There's not a whole lot of add-ons from our point of view that we're going to force youth to buy. Like they will not need to buy bottled water. Okay, water is plentiful on site, and that will be taken care of. You know, there's no hidden costs from what we're providing in the Jamboree. It is personal money from that point.
Donc, si je peux traduire, entre 300 et 500 dollars, c'est raisonnable. Ça dépend toujours ce que le jeune a le goût d'acheter versus le budget qu'il a. Donc, on ne met pas de pression pour l'argent. C'est sûr que d'en avoir un peu, c'est toujours le fun d'acheter des souvenirs. Also, I would like to add that the pre-camp team also is going to talk to you about that, because pre-camp may be in Seoul and Jeonju. Maybe there's going to be more opportunities to buy stuff, maybe. So this is something that the committee is going to address in a next communication device. Donc, c'est sûr qu'on va vous donner l'information concernant le pré-camp. Entre 300 et 500 $, là, on pense que c'est raisonnable. Thank you.
Are you done? So there was a question, will the cultural buildings be nearby, like where Canada House is going to be at certain times of the day? Might be a good place to be during the hottest time of the day if this close by. Trying to think of the map. So
you
mean like the
Delta zone. The Delta zone.
So, yeah.
The Delta zone will be programming as well as cultural hubs.
Where did I see next? That was answered, I presume, by the thumbs up from Edward.
Should they bring cash or will there be debit?
Oh,
So the question, we don't know yet. It is our understanding that for most of the stores, most of the items on site, that there will be a debit credit system available. We would strongly recommend a prepaid Visa, prepaid debit card, something along those lines, with a little bit of Korean monetary, and it's called Korean won, South Korean won, and currently it's about $1,000 is equivalent to $1, equivalent to, what is it? 1,000 won is equivalent to $10. No, 1,000 won is equivalent to $1 Canadian.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So that being the case, they might want to carry 100, equivalent to 100 Canadian dollars in their wallet, or 50 Canadian dollars in their wallet, just in case they're stuck and they need to use Korean won. US dollars will not be is not utilized in South Korea. Everything is South Korean won.
You want to translate that?
Oui. Donc, dans le fond, on n'est pas encore certain si ça va être débit ou crédit, mais de toute façon, c'est toujours bien d'avoir un peu d'argent. Et c'est des Korean won, c'est des won coréens. Et 1000 won coréens égale à $1. Donc, on est facilement capable de savoir combien à peu près que ça pourrait coûter en canadien. Thank you.
So there's a question. I'm going to try it in French. It's probably going to be horribly bad. So it's est-ce que l'on va avoir une liste officielle de matériel? I think that's something about an official material list. Is that right?
Bravo. That was nicely done. Good job. Est-ce qu'on va avoir une liste de matériel? Or are we going to have an official list of material? Probably so. Amy, do you want to answer this one? Since it's in French.
Pour ce qui est de la liste de matériel, Georges en a parlé tantôt. On a celle du UK. On va regarder qu'est-ce qu'il y en est, peut-être la partager. En fait, c'est principalement tout ce qu'il vous faut pour partir en camp. En tenant compte là, de la chaleur et l'humidité qu'on vous a déjà parlé. Mais si on a une liste, ça va sortir là, dans les prochaines communications. Donc, on va vous tenir au courant là, et on sera disponible pour répondre à vos questions.
There's a great question that says, will there be times when youth are expected to wear full uniform considering long sleeves in the heat? There will be one point in time for the opening ceremonies when it has been requested that all national scouting organizations wear their uniform.
Donc, il y a une fois lors des rassemblements officiels que oui, les associations sont tenues de porter leur uniforme. Donc, au niveau des membres de l'association, ça va être l'uniforme bleu.
There's another question.
Right after that would be a great time to trade it.
So there was another question a little bit back. Will recommendations for travel vaccination / education for any endemic diseases of concern be circulated? For example, Hep A/B, typhoid, etc., off the top of his head. Dr. Doug, maybe you can answer that one.
Yeah, we're checking with World Health Organization and with Canadian authorities, and also a group I'm involved with called the Wilderness Medical Society, just to see what recommendations. I would think that most people probably should talk to a travel physician in their community in terms of basics. But I don't believe there's anything unique that we're going to have to recommend. But you should have your usual childhood immunizations up to date. I strongly would encourage people to consider having their COVID shots up to date. And I know Dr. Waterman is particularly concerned about that one as well. But if there's any other recommendations, we'll get those out to people in ample time.
The one thing I would recommend, Doug, that if people are interested in their Hep A and B, that their first shot and then their second shot is a month after their first shot, and then their third shot is 6 months after, correct?
Correct.
So
I certainly would recommend traveling in that part of the world that you should have it's called Twinrex is the combination of Hep A and B. I would certainly recommend that, but we need to find out specifically what the international recommendations are.
And we will have that for the December discussion, Doug, is that correct?
I hope so, yes.
Just to make sure that, because again, the last shot, the third shot is a 6-month period. So if we can get that information to you so that by January, that your third shot would be in June.
Well, your first 2 shots give you the immediate immunity. Your third shot is a booster at the 6-month interval, as you said.
Is there food on the plane was one of the questions. Oh,
yes.
Sorry.
David, is there food on the plane?
Je vais juste répondre par rapport au vaccin. Puis I'm just going to answer about the
Yeah, go ahead.
The shots, if you don't mind French. Juste vous assurer que vous avez Twinrix, je pense que c'est la bonne façon d'éviter l'hépatite A et B. De toute façon, on va venir au courant s'il y en a d'autres qui doivent être faites. Et on a également souligné, on va vous donner l'information de toute façon, qu'est-ce que vous allez aller chercher, mais ça serait bien peut-être de commencer à regarder ça auprès de votre pharmacien. Thank you.
Someone asked if there was going to be food on the plane. I would imagine on a 12-hour flight that there would be food on the plane.
Yeah, so quickly, in terms of the Trans-Pacific flights, you'll have at least two full meals and a snack. On your domestic flight, most likely you'll have nothing. So, but you can bring some food with you, or you can buy something at the airport before boarding the plane. We'll have more details once we have the final flight information closer to the departure date.
Good question, which is what time will we arrive in Korea? David answered end of afternoon, early evening. So here's something that you need to keep in mind. When you leave, and we'll use an example, if you were to leave on a Monday afternoon to go to Korea from the hubs from either Toronto or Vancouver, both of the flights are 12 or 13 hours, depending on which one you're on. little bit of headwinds, a little bit of tailwinds, anywhere 12 to 13 hours. The time difference is also 12 to 13 hours. So you will actually spend a whole day, what will seem to be a whole day in the air. So when you leave on a Saturday, I'm just picking a Saturday, that's not the day you're leaving, but if you were to leave on a Saturday at 4 o'clock, you're going to arrive in South Korea Sunday at about 5 or 6 o'clock. It will feel like 24 hours have gone by the wayside. When you come home, when you leave on the 12th, and I'm again picking a time that you're playing, don't know if this is the one, but if you were to leave at 4 o'clock on a Saturday or a Sunday, let's pick the Sunday. If you were to leave at 4 o'clock on a Sunday, you will arrive in Toronto or Vancouver probably 3 o'clock on the Saturday. You will have gained your whole day back. That makes sense to everybody?
Je pense pas devoir traduire. Je pense que tout le monde a compris comment ça fonctionne. Juste le mettre peut-être dans les commentaires si vous avez des questions en français.
You're absolutely right. Current time in South Korea is 10:23 because they don't recognize daylight saving time either. So when we go back to daylight saving time, that won't be 12 hours. It'll be back to, I believe it's 11 hours.
And don't be calling your parents at noon there
Correct.
to say hi.
Ruben said visit our Facebook page. And just so everyone knows, this link is going to be the same link for all of the meetings. Sorry about the confusion about emailing it out. Yeah, anyways, I hope everyone has it now. So this link is the same every month. How will food restrictions work on the plane? I believe when you filled out your travel questionnaire, you should have listed your all of that information for the travel team. And if you haven't, you need to get in touch with the travel team or anyone, or send it to myself or the general information, and we'll get you in touch with the travel team.
Donc, par rapport aux restrictions au niveau alimentaire pour l'avion, ça faisait partie du questionnaire. Donc, si vous ne l'avez pas encore rempli, on vous invite fortement à le faire ou à communiquer directement avec nous au transport là, pour voir comment on peut s'arranger. Mais si c'est dans le questionnaire, ça va être en considération. Thank you.
Is there going to be electricity in our campsite? No, there is no electricity in the campsite. You have to bring, the recommendation is to bring a small battery and solar panels.
Il n'y aura pas d'électricité pour recharger, donc très important d'avoir peut-être un chargeur et un solaire là, pour recharger votre chargeur.
There will be Wi-Fi on the site, though.
Bien sûr, il va y avoir du Wi-Fi.
I picked up one of these solar packs. I don't know if it's the big blue. I don't know if they're any good, but we're going to review it and hopefully put something up in a bit once we've seen if this is going to work on our site. Wish us luck.
We're going to put Ruben in a sauna for the next 3 days to see if that will work and if there's any issues and concerns.
Well, we've it works well. Has a few USB plugs. Oh, perfect. Someone has used the big blue
with a battery pack, yeah.
With a battery pack, which is what I would expect. Yes. I was going to say, if there's no more questions, this is the end of the regular meeting, and yes, charge the battery off the solar. And it's the IST time in a couple of minutes. If there's no further questions, Was I going to say there will be a December meeting. Chef David, I know he's on the call somewhere, is going to be cooking up something for us, so he'll provide us what we need to get ahead of time. He says, questioning Chef David. He was here. We're discussing what it's going to be, but there will be a cooking segment for the December meeting for sure.
You're on mute, David. No, David, you're still on mute.
I heard him laugh.
Wrong David laughing.
Well, anyways, yeah, because I don't want to keep everyone anyways. There will be a cooking component for the next one. What it's going to be, we're not sure yet, although David has had some suggestions for me. If there is no further questions, then I will release everyone to go back to their evening, watch their football games or whatever they want to do. The ISTs, you're more than welcome to stay on. I do have a couple of things to talk to you about, and then you can ask any questions that are specific to you guys.
Donc, merci beaucoup de votre présence, tout le monde. C'est très apprécié de vous avoir avec nous autres. On vous laisse aller à ce que vous vouliez faire ce soir pour finir votre soirée. ISTs, on aimerait ça que vous restiez. On a quelques petits détails pour vous. Merci, bonne soirée.